Bunch of idiot liberal protesters want to protest at Tom Homan's house. Well, this is his word to them.
I don't make decisions based on protests and hate mail and rallies. They can protest at a vacant house all they want. No one's there. I'm down here in D.C., but it's unfortunate that they don't listen to the facts of the case. They want to protest my house.
Even though Tom looks a little rough right here, he's not messing around. Before we hear Tom's full response, let's hear one of the event organizers' ridiculous reasoning about why illegals should not be gone after, especially predators. It's itsSeanDaniel here. If you enjoy the video, consider subscribing. And even though it's morning here in Japan, I look more awake than Tom Homan did in his interview, thank God. Let's go.
So there's a protest for Saturday at 2 planned, and the mayor of Sackett's Harbor says they're going to declare a state of emergency as they march to Homan's house.
I think that this case specifically has drawn a lot of interest and outrage from the local community as well as the surrounding areas. North Country is a beautiful part of New York State. It is hundreds of miles away from New York City, but even more so in a community of Sackett's Harbor of 1,300 or so residents. They are all outraged. This is a farming community. And even the farmer who this action happened on his property is also outraged. And I think in this moment, what they are demanding is they want their kids to come back to them. These are their students. These are their friends. These are their neighbors. And they're incredibly, incredibly horrified that this happened to begin with. And I don't know if anyone can imagine a third grader being arrested or other kids being arrested simply because of, ICE wanting to meet their quota of the day.
And there wasn't a deportation order, and they were showing up at court for their various hearings.
Yes, there was no order, there was no warrant, and they were still navigating the immigration system.
Again, a bunch of rigmarole, roller coaster of logic, twists, turns, to try to justify and not mention the fact of the predatorness or the things that have gone on from this person, the person that was arrested. No, a bunch of twisted logic to try to justify why an illegal should not be taken into custody. No, they're still working through the immigration system. They came here wrongfully. Anyway, let's hear Tom's full response, not only on this, but on the whole deportation progress that he's been making with ICE. Gotta love Tom Homan.
We're hearing there's supposed to be some sort of a big protest on the front lawn of your home in New York today. So big, apparently the mayor has to get involved. Fill us in. What's going on?
Well, look, they're protesting an operation up there that was conducted by HSI and Border Patrol, a criminal investigation into child predator that was arrested. And there was people, that were detained for material witness and possible victim statements. So, decisions aren't based on protests and rallies and hate mail and, people that are, concerned about the way this operation was conducted. I don't make decisions based on protests and hate mail and rallies. They can protest at a vacant house all they want. No one's there. I'm down here in D.C., but it's unfortunate that they don't listen to the facts of the case. They want to protest my house. The bad thing is it's going to cause law enforcement to be tied up here for a while, because not only the local law enforcement is going to be tied up, but my own security detail. I got Virginia State Police around my home here in Virginia 24/7 because of death threats from criminal cartels who didn't know about the New York property until, the protesters that put all the media, social media this week. So that's going to cause my security detail an extra security threat. Now the criminal cartels do know I own property in upstate New York, but you know what? We'll deal with that. But the people need to understand decisions will be made. Decisions are made on the results of a criminal investigation and what transpires during that criminal investigation. Protests and rallies, they don't mean anything to me. So go ahead and exercise your First Amendment rights. It's not going to change the facts of the case.
Tom, there were days during the Biden administration when it was at its worst, when there were more than 10,000 illegal crossings in one single day. You guys just had 7,000 in an entire month. How'd you do it?
Well, President Trump's a game changer. President Trump promised American people he would secure the border. President Trump did in 60 days. Bill, you were down there. In 60 days, he did what Biden administration couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years. You were down there. You and I were down there together when numbers went over 11,000 a day. We went from 11,000 a day, and right now the average daily crossings right around 200. 11,000 to 200. But the more important number is the number of gotaways. Under Biden administration, the average number of gotaways, people that got in the country, weren't arrested, escaped in the country. We don't know who they are, where they came from, and why they're here. It was an average of 1,800 a day. The other day it was 51. So, you know, that's a significant number. The border's more secure right now than any time in American history. I started in 1984 as a Border Patrol agent. I've never seen the numbers this low.
There seems to be this recent fixation by the media and by some Democrats on trying to vet every single person you guys are deporting. I guess the question is, where was that interest in vetting when millions of people were coming across the border in the last 4 years and they were being caught and released by the millions? Where was the vetting then?
There was no vetting, and the vetting that was done, Secretary Mayorkas lied about the vetting. We've seen numerous cases where they released people in the United States saying, oh, they're properly vetted, only to find out they had serious criminal histories in foreign countries. So, and you're right, where was the concern about the 2.2 million gotaways? Where's the concern of 600% increase in sex trafficking of women and children? Where was the concern about the record number of Americans dying from fentanyl coming across the border, number of illegal aliens dying, which is a record high? There's no concern of vetting back then. So we knew from day one, Bill, you and I talked about this, as soon as President Trump got in office, we started making this country safe again. They would attack the men and women of ICE, the men and women of the Border Patrol every single day, and that's what's happening.
You guys have been urging illegal aliens to self-deport themselves, or else they can be sent to Guantanamo Bay. They can be sent to El Salvador. Do you have any early numbers? How many people have registered on that new CBP Home app to self-deport?
You know, that's been up about 3 weeks, and we got to, you know, it needs to be advertised more, especially in the Spanish language and other languages. That, as you know, we got 161 different nations that came in under Joe Biden. So we're expanding the messaging now. I think over the last 3 weeks we had about 2,500 sign up. We need a lot more than that. So we're going to just start expanding the messages, putting on all different languages so people understand if you self-deport and not get an order of deportation, then you can come back legally under another program, whether you got a U.S. citizen child that can petition for you, whether you want to come back as a student, a visitor, or a tourist. But we have to formally deport you, and we have to take that action. You will never come back in this country under any legal program again. So we're going to try to convince these people, do the right thing, leave the nation on your own, and take advantage of the legal way to come back to this country.
Tom, we got about a minute left. Last month, you guys put in new leadership at ICE. You put in acting ICE Director Todd Lyons to give a shot in the arm to ICE. Are you happy with where arrests and deportations are at right now, and where do you want to go?
Look, Todd Lyons, I've known Todd Lyons for decades. He's one of the premier field office directors in the nation up in Boston. You worked with him many times, Bill. I know you're up there on ride-alongs. The numbers are good, and we arrested more criminal aliens in 2 months than Joe Biden did here. But we got to increase those numbers. We got a lot of criminals out there. We got over 600,000 convicted criminals running around the streets. We got to increase those numbers, so we need to add more teams, more targeting, and we're working on that now.
All right, Tom, always great to see you. Thank you for your insight, and I hope you have a great Saturday, regardless of those protesters at your house up in New York. Enjoy your day in D.C. Thanks, Tom.
All right, so thank you.
Yep.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
That is amazing. He's got people deporting on their own because they don't want to deal with ICE. They don't want to deal with the ramifications of not being able to re-enter the country after. That's a power move, and that only comes when you actually give negative consequences to people breaking the law. Not like before where they got a benefit to breaking the law. Yes, I had to change locations. I'm in a hostel in Hiroshima, Japan. People keep coming in and out. I don't care. I'm still going to film this video for you guys. Now, one thing I have to push back on Tom Homan about is just how difficult it really is to re-enter the country legally. When you start to learn about that, when you start to learn sometimes, a lot of times, how tough the U.S. is to just get a work visa. Yeah, you can get a tourist visa. Okay, you can come see the States. But if you want to move here, improve your life, you got to get a work visa, which is tough. You got to get a student visa, which is maybe not as tough to get into a school. But if you want to get a residency here, it takes forever. You have to have a great job offer, a big company wanting to sponsor you, or even if you have a fiance or spouse and you want to come to the States and you're not a U.S. citizen, it can take 12 months to 36 months just to do that process. So you can understand why people come here illegally. But we are the land of opportunity. We have our rules and our ways. And if you guys don't follow those rules, you're going to face consequences. Which you can understand maybe why these protesters are going to protest so hard. People that actually deal with the issue, not these paid protesters or just old liberal people who have nothing better to do with their time. But these people who have come here illegally, you can understand why they might protest. To come back into the States, to be able to stay here more than 90 days, I got to get a serious job. I got to get somebody to sponsor me. I got to go through a ton of paperwork and pay a lot of money. It's frustrating. And yet still, despite all of that, America is such a great country that people are willing to not lose their ability to come back. So therefore, they are self-deporting. That tells you just how great America is. And that tells you how ridiculous it is when people try to tell you that our country is terrible, it's racist, it's bad, there's not opportunity. People would die, would save so much money to just come to America. And when you travel more and more, like I have, I think I'm at like 30 countries now, you really see the great opportunity we have in America, the great enthusiasm, and the freedoms we have in America. I know I appreciate them. I hope you guys do as well. And you should, just by seeing how many people try to fight and claw to come to the U.S. and to stay. But with Tom Homan, thankfully, we are cleaning that up. It's itsSeanDaniel here. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking or subscribing. Hopefully next video I can have a better setup, not be in this little room trying to finish the video. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. I'm going to try to salute.